Welcome to Punchline Protocol, where fame gets fact-checked and legends get lightly toasted. There are people who get canceled, and then there's Logan Paul, the man who turned cancellation into a career move. He didn't just survive the internet's wrath. He trademarked it, bottled it, and sold it back to you in prime-flavored form. From Vine clips to billion-view apologies, from Tokyo forests to crypto jungles, this man's life isn't a timeline. It's a redemption factory. Every downfall became a trailer. Every scandal a sequel. Every headline another invoice. So tonight, we're not asking who is Logan Paul. We're asking, what system does he represent? Because this isn't just about one influencer's comeback story. It's about an industry that figured out how to make sin profitable. And Logan? He's the CEO of that model. Before we start throwing digital punches, a quick reminder. This is satire. It's based on open sources, and you should always check things twice. Logan Paul would. In fact, he probably trademarked the phrase double check. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this episode, yet. But let's get one thing straight. We're not here to cancel Logan. We're here to study him. Because Logan Paul isn't just a YouTuber, he's the algorithm wearing human skin. He found the code behind Outrage and turned it into currency. And the rest of the internet? We copied the homework, so buckle up. We're diving into the blueprint of modern fame, where controversy is content, and every scandal comes with a promo code, because if the internet is a circus, Logan Paul isn't the clown, he's the guy who sold the tickets. Before there was Prime, before the podcast, before the lawsuits, there was a teenager in Ohio holding a phone sideways, 6 seconds. That's all Vine gave you to become unforgettable, and Logan took every one of them personally. He learned early that the internet doesn't reward talent, it rewards volume. Scream louder, move faster, react bigger, and congratulations, you've hacked dopamine. Vine wasn't a platform, it was a training ground for attention addiction. And Logan? He graduated top of his class. When Vine died, most creators vanished with it. Logan didn't. He just looked at YouTube and said, okay, let's play this game on hard mode. And he didn't just play it. He rewrote the rulebook, because somewhere between his 5th prank and 50th vlog, he realized something that changed everything. The internet doesn't care who you are. It only cares how long it can't look away. And that's the moment a kid with a camera became a mirror for a generation. And the algorithm smiled back. Every legend has a fall. For Logan Paul, it wasn't a crash. It was a broadcast. Japan 2017. A camera, a forest, a video that should never have been uploaded. And yet, it was. That moment didn't just break the internet. It broke the illusion, the idea that fame equals wisdom, or that being watched makes you human. The world pointed its finger, screamed, cancel him. But here's the paradox. Outrage is still engagement. The same clicks that condemned him, rebuilt him. He apologized, reflected, disappeared, and then came back stronger, sharper, and, somehow, more algorithmically correct. It wasn't redemption. It was rebranding. Because in the age of the internet, you don't rise from your mistakes. You monetize them. That day, the world saw a villain. But the algorithm saw potential. And from that darkness, Logan Paul learned the ultimate lesson, that attention forgives everything. They called it a comeback, but it wasn't. It was a launch. Because when Logan Paul returned, he didn't just apologize. He incorporated himself. He wasn't here to say sorry. He was here to say subscribe. He turned the concept of growth into a content pillar. Every episode, every fight, every collaboration, a chapter in the self-help book called I Survived the Internet. And it worked. He wasn't hated anymore. He was studied. Teachers used him as a case study. Investors called it resilience, and fans called it real. Because authenticity online isn't about being true. It's about being transparent enough to look honest. The brand was rebuilt. The guilt was gone. And in its place stood something much more powerful, a personality optimized for redemption. Logan Paul 2.0 wasn't an accident. He was an update. When the internet runs out of ideas, it turns to violence. So Logan Paul did what every modern influencer does when the views start to dip. He entered the ring. But this wasn't about sport. It was about spectacle. The gloves had logos. The ring had sponsors. And every punch had a marketing plan. Two YouTubers punched each other, and somehow it became a global event. Streaming rights, merch deals, betting apps. What started as a fight became a case study in monetized masculinity. Pain became performance, performance became profit, and profit became personality. This wasn't redemption. It was resurrection by capitalism. He sold pain, and people bought it. Because deep down, we weren't watching to see who'd win. We were watching to see who'd bleed better. And when the fight was over, he didn't hang up his gloves. He put on headphones. Because the next battle wasn't in the ring. It was behind the mic. He used to scream for attention. Now he whispers it back to you. After years of chaos, Logan Paul reinvented himself again. This time, as a philosopher of fame. A microphone, a couch, a guest list full of internet royalty. And suddenly, the man who once filmed the worst parts of humanity was now interviewing them. The tone was calm, the lighting perfect, the brand reborn. But here's the trick. It wasn't about truth. It was about tempo. Podcasts became the new therapy, and Logan Paul became the therapist for the algorithm. Each episode, part confession, part commercial. A safe space that doubles as a marketplace. He didn't need to sell you merch anymore. He sold you perspective. And the price? Your time, your trust, your replay value. In the content economy, sincerity is a product. And Logan Paul became its most profitable distributor because the podcast wasn't the business. It was the pitch deck for everything that came next. First came the redemption arc, then the revelation. Prime, crypto zoo, non-fungible tokens. A new gospel of belief, baptized in brand deals and blockchain. Logan Paul didn't just rebuild his image, he franchised it. He preached hustle, he sold hype, and millions listened, not because they trusted him, but because they trusted momentum. He learned the rule of the new religion of the internet. If you keep moving fast enough, no one stops long enough to see the cracks. Prime became the holy water of clout, non-fungible tokens, indulgences for believers in the next big thing. And Crypto Zoo, the Book of Revelations. Nobody finished reading. When the empire started to crack, he did what every great emperor of content does. He pivoted. He didn't collapse, he adapted. Because Logan Paul isn't just an influencer, he's an ecosystem. Behind every brand, there's a blueprint. Behind every blueprint, there's belief. And behind belief, there's profit. That's not cynicism, that's design. Every empire eventually meets gravity. And for Logan Paul, gravity came with a name, Crypto Zoo, a game that promised wealth, community, innovation. But behind the blockchain buzzwords was something simpler, another story about trust. People didn't just lose money, they lost belief. And that's the real currency online. Not dollars, not tokens, but trust that clicks again tomorrow. He apologized. Then he explained. Then he rebranded. But once the mask of success slips, you can't unsee the person behind it. The same audience that crowned him, turned on him. And for a moment, the algorithm felt like a mirror, showing him everything he taught it to value. Speed, spectacle, redemption on demand. It was poetic, almost biblical, but the fall wasn't failure, it was data. Because even outrage has ad revenue. Even downfall brings views. And in the end, the system didn't punish him, it promoted him. The empire didn't collapse, it evolved. Because in the algorithm's eyes, a fall is just another form of flight. The internet forgives, not because it's kind, but because it's bored. And boredom is the soil where redemption grows. He didn't rise from the ashes. He just changed thumbnails, new haircut, new apology, same algorithm. The beauty and tragedy of the digital age is that you don't need to evolve. You just need to update. Audiences moved on. Sponsors came back. And Logan Paul became the case study for how to outlive your own cancellation. Because the algorithm never judges character, only consistency. He learned that the best comeback is to never leave the feed. This wasn't redemption. It was repetition with better lighting. But we believed it because we wanted to. We crave stories of growth, even when it's just good editing. And so the cycle continued. Controversy, apology, reinvention, each one faster, slicker, and somehow emptier. Because on the internet, the only true sin is slowing down. They call it content, but really, it's currency. Views are dollars, clicks are votes, and controversy is compound interest. Logan Paul isn't just part of the system. He is the system. The algorithm rewards what the audience can't look away from. And Logan mastered that art long before anyone dared to call it one. When drama hits, you don't panic. You scale. Attention is the only resource that never runs out, because it's mined from you. Every outrage, every redemption, every comeback. It's a loop designed to feel alive. You scroll, you react, you repeat. He profits. Some say he manipulates the system, but maybe the system just mirrors what we've become. A species addicted to spectacle, because attention is no longer love, it's labor, and in that labor market, Logan Paul is the CEO. He doesn't chase attention anymore. He rents it out. And we keep paying. There's a moment when fame stops being applause and becomes worship. You can feel it when a man looks at his own reflection and doesn't see himself anymore. He sees a logo. He's no longer selling drinks or podcasts or fights. He's selling resurrection. Every downfall reborn as redemption. Every scandal, a sermon. Every controversy, communion. They used to call it narcissism. Now it's called engagement. He doesn't fear being canceled, because cancellation is content. He doesn't fear death, because the feed never ends. The God complex isn't about power. It's about proof. Proof that you exist, because they still watch. Proof that you matter, because they still comment. When your existence depends on attention, you'll burn the world just to stay lit. He stopped chasing fame. He became it. And in a world where the crowd plays God, how could he not believe he was one? Every click is a confession. We say we want truth, but reward performance. We say we hate fakes, but love filters. We mock him, and then watch the next video. The mirror doesn't lie. It just loads faster than we can blink. Logan Paul didn't create the machine. He learned to speak its language because he understood something we still deny. The algorithm doesn't care who's right. It only cares who's watched. And in that logic, morality is lag. Silence is failure. Reflection is bad retention. He became the perfect reflection of our contradictions, self-aware, self-promoting, self-consuming. He's not the villain. He's the mirror. And the longer we stare, the more we see ourselves staring back. The algorithm didn't create him. We did. Every click, every watch, every second we call it just entertainment. That's how legends and illusions are built. The camera used to point at the world. Now it points at us. Once we filmed our lives, now we live for the film. Logan Paul didn't invent the game. He just played it better than anyone. He learned that in the economy of attention, you don't sell products. You sell existence. And when existence itself becomes content, the only thing left to fear is silence. This is the legacy loop. Fame dies, then uploads itself again. Every scandal reborn as a thumbnail. Every apology monetized. Every fall, just another trailer for the next return. He's not a creator anymore. He's a file format. And maybe that's the punchline of our time. We all became our own trailers, streaming our sanity in HD. This isn't the end of the story, just the next upload, because legends don't fade anymore. They refresh. If you made it this far, congratulations. You've just survived another roast of the digital gods. But this isn't where it ends. Punchline keeps burning the surface, while our second project, BOX Dark Side Stories, dives straight into the shadows. You'll find the link in the description. Watch it, if you're ready to see what's left when the spotlight goes out. And here at Punchline Protocol, we've only just begun. Subscribe, because the next legend is already uploading.